On this episode of Travels with Bill, we're in Kamsack, Saskatchewan, looking at the Woodlander Hotel. We're going to talk about the history of this hotel, and unfortunately, in this video, we'll tell you all of the history right to the end of it, because while the hotel looked like this during our visit, it wasn't too long later until it looked like this. It was December 8th, 2023 that the Woodlander Hotel burned, not right to the ground as you can tell, some was still standing, but certainly a massive fire that destroyed the building. And then it was no more. We're going to take a look back, see some of the happier times, and actually take a look inside the hotel as well. Here it is on one of those happier nights. It was Christmas, a couple years back when we were filming Christmas lights, so you can see the hotel all lit up at night. The Woodlander Hotel was built back in 1912. The restaurant was added in 1960. Now, I think by that they mean the little piece out to the back of the hotel, because the main building itself, I think, was always there. Although I'm not really sure. I have to admit I wasn't around in 1960 to know. One of the neat things when we go to communities is we often fly a lot of buildings like this, and we hope to never use the footage, but we keep it in the archive because you just never know when something will happen. So we were in Kamsack a couple years back and flew a bunch of their big old buildings, just in case one was to burn, so if it did, we'd be able to come back and look at it in better times. That's what we're doing right now. You know, a friend of mine, Kevin Penner, was actually in that hotel, and he did some video work for them. That was many years ago, so it's still in lower resolution, but he was there promoting the hotel for people to come stay in it. That's a really neat thing, too, to actually have video of inside. Well, here we are going in the door of the restaurant. Now, you'll see some subtitles here, and it is a bit fuzzy, because this was filmed in 480 back in the day with a real video camera. But he does a pretty good tour here of the hotel. We take a look at the actual restaurant part. I've eaten in there a few times. He's even going to show us the rooms and the kitchen here in a bit, too. Unfortunately, it's all gone now. It's really fancy inside, though. I know some people think older hotels and older communities get to be kind of run down, but they did a pretty good job at the Woodlander keeping it new and fresh. Now, of course, it was a really old building, but the things they did with it made it look fairly modern. Inside the beverage room here a little bit, you can see the age of the place by the size of the computer monitor there. Obviously, this was filmed a while back, and some things had changed. It wasn't exactly like this the day it burned, but certainly this is a good look at what was inside the building. He has a longer video of this where he actually goes through the whole thing. He even shows you the washrooms, just in case you want to make sure they were clean enough. Little look inside the stock room here, all the beer ready to go. We're going to head upstairs in a moment too and take a look up there. The Woodlander Hotel was actually built as the King George Hotel back in the day, and it survived a cyclone. You may remember Kamsack was home to a very big, well, what we would call a tornado now, but it was so long ago they called it a cyclone. This is one of the buildings that survived just fine. I wanted to show you this as well. It was July of 2021 when there were new owners here. Obviously this video filmed before them, but there's the new guy that took over. Him and his wife and his daughter were living here. Well, here's the second floor. It's really nice up there. I always wondered, I have to admit, from the outside of the hotel, what's it like in there? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, look at this. It looks like any other hotel you'd expect, right? Okay, I know, no flat screen TV, but that's because this video is, well, before the time of flat screen TVs, but everything else inside just looks beautiful. Quick peek at the kitchen as well here. It was actually a fairly nice kitchen too. Very well stocked. Lots of equipment. Maybe a little snug, but in older buildings that tends to happen. You got to put the equipment in wherever you can find room for it. Well, unfortunately, that will probably do us looking at the hotel in better days, and we have to deal with what happened to it on the 8th of December. This is probably one of the first videos a lot of people saw of what was going on at the hotel. Just after 11 p.m. on December the 8th, it was a Friday night, crews were called to the hotel for fire. Obviously, it got out of control very quickly. Now, the good news is they did manage to save other buildings. The bad news is the hotel was a total loss. We'll hop into the air here so you can see the photos of it from a drone, and you can see the trouble, right? It's a beautiful hotel, but it is entirely engulfed in flames. 3 stories of it all burning, the roof burning there as well. Now, at the point this particular picture was taken, the wall had not yet collapsed. They say it collapsed around 2 a.m. in the morning, and it went all across the street. It wrecked a bunch of stuff, but you can see the embers flying off the hotel there. It's insane just how far they're going. Fire crews not only trying to keep the fire a little bit slower at the hotel, but also spraying down the roofs of the buildings. In fact, you can see a little bit there in the drone shot as they're spraying to make sure that nothing else catches on fire. An absolutely massive blaze coming out of that hotel, and basically all the way across the street too. When we jump to the next day, now you can see how that wall has fallen down and the bricks have come across. They tell us one of those bricks did break a window across the street because it came bouncing over, but for the most part the wall stayed fairly close to the hotel. They also tell us no one hurt in this, which is quite remarkable. In 2021 at least, the new owners are living in the hotel, but everybody that was in there got out safely and nobody around got hurt either. Certainly the town of Kamsack is incredibly proud of their firefighters. Not only the ones from Kamsack, also ones from Ryan, Saskatchewan came to help as well, but Public Works making sure there was enough water in the RCMP, everybody doing their part as they worked on the blaze. Well, I don't know about you, but I think I prefer to remember the Woodlander Hotel looking like this. Or we could go back in time a bit and call it the King George Hotel. It was a neat place, wasn't it? Certainly lots of history what was inside. I hope you enjoyed taking a peek at the better times of the hotel before the fire, and unfortunately, those times likely won't come again. The hotel, we don't imagine, will be rebuilt because certainly it was such a big old place, but only time will tell, I suppose. I was through Kamsack a couple nights ago, and the rubble pile is still there as they're waiting to clean it up a little more. That does it for this episode of Travels with Bill. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, and we'll see you next time.